Longboat Key, mask, COVID-19, what's the latest? Hi everyone, my name is Mike Rennick. I'm the team lead, the senior broker of Team Rennick, part of that great Mangrove Realty Associates family. My guest this morning is Mr. Stephen Reed. Steve owns the Longboat Key News and the Sarasota City News and is also the publisher. This is going to be a little bit different video. What we want to do, it'll be more newsworthy, not newsworthy, more factual in terms of the mask. Longboat Key has made some decisions on the mask. So our role this morning is not to judge it, it's not to editorialize, but it's to bring the latest and greatest. So Steve, why don't you share what's going on?
All right. Well, Mike, first, welcome everybody. And we got to say the good news is, and part of why we're talking about masks is the rollout of the vaccination. I talked to the fire chief this morning. Just about all of Longboat's residents who tend to be the average age is 68 have been vaccinated. Mm-hmm. So that's a good
I'm one
basis.
of those.
That's
Guilty.
one of them. Now, one of the things that's happened in the last week is it actually was in mid-March, Governor DeSantis removes the state of emergency mask ordinance that gave all these local legislative bodies like Longboat Key the ability to have teeth and enforcement teeth in their mask ordinances.
They could do it through fines.
Yeah, so
Correct.
last year when COVID ramped up, remember everyone was saying, why doesn't Publix or this business have a mask ordinance? Why are people running around without masks? Well, at one point then, the governor enacted a state of emergency, gave the town the authority then to enforce mask ordinances, and it made a law that public businesses require masks and public places. Well, the governor's repealed that. A state of emergency is over. So what that means is it's now up to businesses individually. They can set their own rules. So Publix can require a mask or not. Okay. CVS can or cannot. Now the fire chief and all of the town officials are urging businesses and residents to keep wearing masks until this pandemic's over. In fact, Desi said there was 5 new cases of COVID that they responded to on Longboat last week.
Wow. Because
people are coming down and visiting and bringing COVID. So here's the facts. The state rule has been repealed. The town then repealed its ordinance. So now the town will only enforce it as a trespassing measure. So if Publix says we have a mask ordinance and someone's not complying, the police can come and trespass you out if you refuse not to wear a mask.
So
you won't get fined for not wearing a mask, though.
But we've gone from civil, which is a fine, to trespass, which is a misdemeanor. Is that correct?
Well, it's basically you would be trespassed probably and told not to return to the store, but it wouldn't be because you wouldn't be fined, you'd be not complying with the regulation of the business.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be like saying you have to stand online and you refuse to, so they can escort you out of the store. They have the right to do that.
So let me summarize. So what's happening in most of the area, not just Longboat, masks probably will still be required.
And they're still required in public places. So they're required in town hall. They're required on beaches unless you have social distancing. Okay. They're required in all parks, all recreational facilities, unless you're practicing social distancing.
But what they've done now, the enforcement, instead of a fine, will be a trespass charge.
Only a trespass charge if the property owner complains, you refuse to listen, you won't leave, you have to do a lot of stuff. You have to be very obnoxious to get trespassed.
Okay.
You have to fight. You have to basically
resist. I was going to make a
resist.
comment about newspaper owners and real estate agents, but I'll withdraw that.
You mean we'll be the ones getting trespassed? So the reason I say this is Desi, who's our fire chief and has been dealing with this for a long time, is very concerned that people will just start relaxing. We're in spring break, that we're going to have this close proximity. And one thing you realize about EOC, fire chief, emergency responders, they deal with the singular problems. They want to prevent the one accident, the one death. Now, statistically, we're probably far safer than we were. They're always looking, could we have prevented this or that?
That's right.
And how can we do that?
Well, if the next person that gets sick is one of your loved ones, that's a very important statistic, that one part. So I appreciate that they're looking at that.
You brought up earlier, even though people are vaccinated, there's a lot of unknowns about how the COVID is transmitted, whether the vaccination stops people from carrying and transmitting. We don't know. There's more unknowns
still
than
a lot
knowns.
to learn.
Yeah, so
The latest now, to summarize, is in public places you have to wear masks. Store owners are allowed to make the determination
they
themselves.
can, yes.
And even though the governor has taken away the ability to fine at a local level, there is another way around that with the trespass ordinance.
Well, there's a way the local businesses can get some enforcement help if they find they don't have to debate people about masks. They could say, look, it's the rule. If you don't want to follow it, we're just going to have to call the authorities. You don't have to bog down into debates. It just is or it isn't.
And again, the purpose for this update is not to judge that, not to give our opinion of it, but just to present the facts for the things that are changing here in Longboat.
And just as an addendum, there is a new normal. As the chief said, very likely you'll see fire departments prior COVID, they didn't go respond to strokes and fire calls with masks on. They feel going forward in today's new world, they're going to be masked up.
Okay.
Probably into the indefinite future.
Okay.
So-
So, Steve, I appreciate the update. There'll be more to follow. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.